Hey nerds, it's Jamie
and Neil,
and welcome back to Close Encounters of the Nerd Kind. We're here to take you through our first ever episode of Nerd News. If you missed our upload yesterday with our thoughts on the latest episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, make sure to check out our channel and catch up with that video through the link in the description. While you're there, please also hit the like, subscribe and ring the bell so you stay nerdified. Without further ado, let's take a look at the recent happenings in the world of nerd, as we bring to you Nerd News.
So what do we have on the agenda for today? The latest trailer for Bad Batch arrives.
Obi-Wan casting has been confirmed.
Hasbro launched a Pulse UK website ahead of PulseCon next week.
And Marvel drops diamond for a penguin.
So up first is Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is scheduled to start shooting this month. It's going to be directed by Deborah Chow, who, if you recognise the name, directed 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. It's set 10 years after the Revenge of the Sith, and other than the confirmed casting, which we're about to run through, that's about all we know. So, the big news has already dropped. Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen will be reprising their roles as Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker, respectively. But some of the other news, we will see Owen and Beru, played by Joel Edgerton and Bonnie P.S., reprising their roles from Revenge of the Sith as well. Some of the other key names you might recognise: Indira Varma from Game of Thrones fame, and O'Shea Jackson Jr., who of course is the eldest son of Ice Cube and star of Straight Outta Compton, as well as Sung Kang from the Fast and the Furious films, and Moses Ingram of Queen's Gambit fame. It's scheduled to release on Disney Plus around April next year and will fill in some of the gaps between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Really anticipated, very much looking forward to it. As of now, there's no details on the storyline or who these actors will portray, but we will have some speculation videos in the weeks and months ahead because we certainly have a few ideas, so stay tuned for that.
And next, the latest trailer for Bad Batch. The spin-off from Clone Wars has been dropped by Disney this week. Here we see a group of experimental clones, originally known as Clone Force 99, starring Hunter, Echo, Tech, Wrecker and Crosshair. Now from the trailer it looks like we will follow them as they make their own path and find their place in the galaxy. This is set straight after Order 66 has been executed, and in the trailer we saw Star Wars favourites such as Tarkin, Captain Rex and Fennec from The Mandalorian. As you might expect, D. Bradley Baker reprises his role for all of the Bad Batch and Rex. Stephen Stanton will feature as Tarkin, and Ming-Na Wen returns as the enigmatic Fennec. I thought the trailer was action-packed. These guys were only in a few episodes of Clone Wars, so it would be nice to see their characters fleshed out. It looked like they had gone rogue, perhaps refusing their programming to carry out Order 66. Either way, they seem to be on the run from the new Galactic Empire, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with this series. Unsurprisingly, this will be released on Disney Plus on Star Wars Day, May the 4th.
Moving on, we have Black Widow, which will finally see a global release in early July of this year, having originally been scheduled for the 1st of May 2020. As we all know, it's a standalone film believed to be set between Civil War and Infinity War, and we'll see Scarlett Johansson reprise her role as the titular character. Undoubtedly, we will see her explore some of the red marks in her ledger that she mentioned previously. In addition to Scarlett Johansson, we also see Florence Pugh entering as Velena Belova, David Harbour of Stranger Things fame taking up the role of Red Guardian, and William Hurt returning as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. The most exciting part for me of the latest trailer and the film in general is the introduction of Taskmaster, who, if you don't know, is a Marvel villain slash anti-hero who has a photographic memory and can replicate any fighting move or technique even if he sees it just once. This, combined with the fact that we see Thaddeus Ross in the film as well, really leads me to believe that we may be seeing some form of Dark Avengers or Secret Avengers team being set up with the introduction of Sword, the White Vision, and other such characters that are being introduced in the latest Disney Plus MCU shows. As I said, this releases in early July, so we don't have long to wait.
In other news, the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut was finally achieved with the release of the 4-hour superhero epic now available on Sky in the UK and HBO Max in America. Make sure you check it out if you haven't already, and we'll be sharing our thoughts and opinions with you soon in our Snyder Cut special.
And finally, on the topic of film and TV, we have Invincible, the latest animated series to drop on Amazon Prime, based on the 2003 best-selling comic by Robert Kirkman, the author of Walking Dead. The first 4 episodes are currently out, following a 17-year-old Mark Grayson who's just discovered his superhero powers. But he should be used to that because his father is Omni-Man, the most powerful superhero in the world. It's a darker take, a darker look at the world of superheroes, very similar to the likes of The Boys. And as Mark develops his superpowers, he perhaps realises that his father's legacy is not all that it seems. It stars Stephen Yeun of Walking Dead fame as Mark Grayson, J.K. Simmons, of course you all remember him from Spider-Man. He features as Nolan Grayson, aka Omni-Man, and Sandra Oh features as his mother, Debbie Grayson. Really looking forward to seeing how this series pans out, and so you should all go and check that out right now on Amazon Prime.
And now, for UK toy lovers, a new website called Hasbro Pulse UK has been launched. You will now be able to purchase straight and direct from Hasbro. They are kicking this new website off with PulseCon, an event which starts on April the 9th, showcasing some brilliant and new and exclusive figures from the whole Hasbro range. As mentioned, the website is live with pre-orders available, which we will talk about later in the show.
But what if you can't wait until this Friday and you want to drop some of your hard-earned cash on some toys and action figures? Well, we've got the latest information here for you. If you're a Hot Toys collector, there's been some great recent pre-orders come live on all the major distributors. Bo-Katan from The Mandalorian has been released. It's going to be around £320. Looks like July next year. All of these figures are going to be next year, obviously. But this one looks great. The head sculpt, again, typically is pretty fantastic. Great accessory set. Very accurate to the television programme. Following up from the success of the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, Hot Toys announced a reissue of their Justice League Batman and Superman, the Nightmare Batman and Black Suit Superman. It's the first time they've done a Black Suit Superman. We've seen a lot of people do a lot of custom work, some of it great, some of it not so great. Both of these figures look fantastic. There's been a very high demand, I know, for the Nightmare Batman on the aftermarket. This double pack's coming in at around about £530 and it's due late next year, I believe, so got a bit of a wait for it. More recently, specifically after the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they announced the pre-order for that version of Bucky Barnes, and similarly that looks fantastic. Head sculpt is very good. Accessory set seems a bit limited and probably isn't as cool as the Winter Soldier version, but obviously that one is very hard to find. This one's coming in at around $250, so that's sort of more standard Hot Toys price range. We assume there will be a Falcon figure, but I'm guessing there's a similar situation to the Scarlet Witch and Vision figures they announced from WandaVision, where they had to leave it until the end of the series because the costume was a spoiler. Take from that what you will, but I'm pretty sure we are going to see Sam Wilson in a Captain America costume at some point before the end of that series, and as soon as that happens, I reckon you can see that version of the Falcon drop from Hot Toys. And on the subject of WandaVision merch, they've announced a whole raft of Pop Funkos inspired by the TV show, a whole range of reflections of the character. As we saw, there were different manifestations of Wanda and Vision, but most notably we see a fantastic white Vision that glows in the dark, which looks very, very cool. an exclusive Pietro Maximoff, Fietro if you will, which similarly looks fantastic, and the two children, Billy and Tommy, wearing their Halloween costumes, which of course harken back to their personas in the comics of Speed and Wiccan. Moving on to some of the merch available on the Hasbro Pulse UK website, as Jamie mentioned earlier, we have some great new Black Series figures. There is a Sith Apprentice Darth Maul, the Imperial Guard Carnor Jackson, the walking, talking green bunny that isn't Bucky O'Hare, and a new Luke Skywalker inspired by his appearance in the comic series Heir to the Empire. And if you want to know more about that comic series, you might want to check out Spec Ops on Wednesday. On the subject of toys available on the Hasbro Pulse UK website right now, there is a pre-order which was announced this week for the latest repaint in the War for Cybertron Scorponok figure. This one's called Black Zarak and looks absolutely fantastic in all modes as the original Scorponok figure did. Fantastic figure. This one features a transformable headpiece that transforms into a smaller mini-bot as well. Fantastic looking item. And just one other point on the subject of Transformers, it looks like the HasLab Unicron is finally dropping in major retailers, so people with a pre-order on that figure should be looking to expect that in the next few weeks. Obviously shipping has been delayed from Asia, so it'd be interesting to see what other and future Transformers projects, maybe even HasLab projects, may get announced on April the 9th. One other franchise you may see Hasbro revive is the Ghostbusters. They've already revealed a handful of G1 reissues. I expect there to be more. Leave a note in the comments if you had a favourite Ghostbusters figure as a kid that you want to see them recreate. And tune in next week when we drop all the latest info from PulseCon to see if your favourite figure was amongst them. And finally, for you 112 collectors, Mezco have announced a few new additions to their 112 collective line. We have the Destro from G.I. Joe, accessory laden and looks fantastic. Paint applications look amazing on his silver mask. We also have Constantine from DC, who again comes with a ridiculous amount of accessories, so you can recreate pretty much any scene you want to from the comic. On the Marvel side of things, they've announced pre-orders for Morbius, the Living Vampire, again comic inspired, not inspired by the upcoming Sony film. Again, another figure that comes with a massive amount of accessories. This mobile lab is looking so cool and has a light up feature. So if you are into 112 scale figures, definitely look at these pre-orders. And finally, in the last week, they've also announced a pre-order for this comic-inspired Wolverine. Again, an amazing amount of accessories. He's got a head sculpt that reflects his first appearance in the comics, a wide range of expressive hands, and rarely, for a Mezco figure, it actually has a diorama base of a destroyed Sentinel, which again lights up, and I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to that figure. Definitely one that I will be adding to my basket before it hits the stores. But that's it from toys. I'm going to hand over to Jamie now to update you on the latest in the world of comics.
So and finally, on this week's nerd news, Marvel swapped Diamond for Penguin. Following in DC's footsteps in 2020, Marvel have also now dropped Diamond Comics as their leading distributor, and will now be working alongside Penguin Random House from October 2021. News on this is progressing daily, so stay informed and up to date with nerd news.
Well, that's it for nerd news this week. Thank you once again for joining us. If there's anything you think we failed to mention, or anything you'd like to see us address in future nerd news, please leave a note in the comments. And while they're there, what should they do, Jamie?
They should like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay notified.
Thank you everyone. We'll see you soon.